Hello, welcome to John's Author Diary for the weekend in March the 24th, 2019. I've had a busy week. I've been working on my second draft of Strength, which is going a little bit slower than I would like, but I'm about halfway through that. I was hoping to have got the second draft done this week, but that hasn't happened. So I think what I'm going to do is put that on hold just for a little bit. I think next week I'm going to focus on getting the first draft done for The Hermit, which is the next episode. So, because next week is going to be my last week for about 4 weeks where I'm going to have a chance to do some first draft writing. So I think I'll be able to fit in some editing here and there. But apart from that, I really need to focus on getting stuff that I can work on. So following my episode last week, I got an invite to join a Discord group for other fantasy authors. So I've just signed up. I've made my first post. So I think this was because I was talking about marketing books last week. So thanks to Nicole for the invite. I'm looking forward to getting involved in that. And on Sunday, I recorded the second full episode of the Sci-Fi Roundtable podcast. So this one was about Japanese mythology, and there was a lot of geeking out in that, so that was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed that. I think I've got another one lined up for Sunday. So it's a bit weird at the moment because of the way that the daylight savings time works in America. It's already gone. Ours doesn't go for another few weeks. So they're essentially starting at 10 o'clock on Sunday evening, which is pretty late. That's way past my bedtime usually. I'm usually getting ready for bed at about 10 o'clock. So I'm looking forward to the clocks changing because of that. In other podcast news, I released the first episode of Stop Booking Around for a While. So this was a discussion I had with Chris O'Gorman and Ben Hennessy-Garside about what people in the music industry can learn from authors and vice versa. So it was mainly about character development and personas and branding and things like that. So it was a really interesting discussion, and I've just recorded another episode of the podcast with my friend Laura. I've known Laura for about 17 years, and she's just dipping her toe into writing now. So I've been helping her with that, including sending her a copy of the Stop Booking Around book. So she's read that, and then I'm talking to her about how to build her novel using the snowflake method. So that's been really interesting to do. I had a phone call yesterday from my friend Russ, who is a person who I started the podcast with, so it was our idea to help him get through his first novel, and he can't do the podcast anymore. So I thought this was coming really. He had a lot of issues over Christmas, and I think the pressure of a podcast is actually been detrimental to his writing. And I think this is one of those things that he'd built up in his head as a big thing, like he was afraid to tell me or something, and I want him to do what's best. I want him to write the best story he can, but I don't want to put him in a situation that's going to add to anxiety or anything like that. So I'm going to post my episode with Laura, and I think I'm going to knock the podcast on the head. It's been a lot of fun doing it, but as I've said before, I didn't want this thing to turn into like a weekly interview podcast or something like that, because it was about Russ's journey, and Russ isn't there anymore. I mean, the good thing about that is it does free me up. You know, it does take a while to edit these episodes and to do things like show notes and all that. So I think with the Sci-Fi Roundtable, I've got a podcast now that I'll keep doing for a while. I think we've got stuff until June lined up, so that's very cool. So I finished reading the Chris Beckett book this week, Daughter of Eden. So it was the last book in the Dark Eden series, and it was fantastic. It's really sad, really well written, really imaginative. Absolutely loved it. So I'd recommend that. And because it's 4 years since Terry Pratchett died, this week I decided to start a Terry Pratchett book. So I've been reading Unseen Academicals, and I'm about halfway through, and it's great. So when I finish that, I'm going to start reading some marketing books. So this should be fun and exciting for all involved, I'm sure. I've bought the book, Adweek's Guide to Copywriting, so I'm sure that will be a thrilling read. And I've also bought a book, this was on the recommendation of Paul Teague, which was a book about BookBub ads by David Gorgren. So I'm going to work through that and see if I can get more eyes on my stories. I think I'm in a bit of an awkward space at the moment with selling my books. I don't usually talk about marketing stuff on this podcast, but I've got my book Blind Gambit, which doesn't really sell anymore. Then I've got my Wasteland series. Now what I've done recently is I've put my first book, Wizards of the Wasteland, for free. And the same with my first book in the Ravenglass Chronicles, The Fool, that's for free as well. That's to get people into the series, to get them interested. I'm going to keep the Wasteland book for free for a while until I basically relaunch the series with the rewrites. So if you recall, I rewrote the Wizards of the Wasteland in past tense and added more layers to the story, improved the scenes, tightened stuff up. It was quite a serious edit, to be honest. And I'm going to do the same with the following 2 books. And then when I finish writing the 4th book, Cleric of the Wasteland, I'm going to do a complete relaunch of everything. But that'll be way off yet. With the Ravenglass Chronicles, what I'm thinking of doing is actually getting rid of The Fool as a freebie to get people into the series. I think I'm basically getting a bit sick of reviewers complaining about it being short, so I'm going to get rid of it. I'm going to put The Fool as the first part of The Magician, and then put The Magician at 99p, and have the rest of the series at 2.99. So I think I'll probably do that at some point over the next few weeks. So I've had no questions this week. If you have a question, please do email me. It's john@johncronshaw.com. That's JONCRONSHAW. And if you're a fan of epic fantasy, military fantasy, please do come and join our Facebook group, the Arcane Book Club. There we've got a monthly read and starting to have some discussions about epic and military fantasy. So that'd be awesome if you would like to come over there. So until next time, cheerio.